Hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach, and this is my show about whitewater things. Today, I want to talk about the role of the second boater. And I'm a big believer in just good spacing, good boat order, because I like people boating as a group, as a team, looking out for each other. I feel like we're doing sort of a team safety thing here. We all have to be looking out for each other all the time. And people in a group of boats have different responsibilities. And just quickly, generally, the first boat is a lot of times the best boater. They're going ahead, showing people where to go, making decisions about stopping, whatever. The second boat is this person's safety. If the people in this boat fall out or have a problem, the second boat has to speed up ahead and get to them. And so that's a lot of responsibility. It's a very difficult thing to do. I typically put weaker boaters sort of here in the back, like people who are learning the lines. You know, that way there's a lot of safety downstream in case there's a problem. But I also like to have somebody strong in back, because especially as somebody good with safety and first aid, because if there's any problem, if these guys get way ahead, the last boat will catch up. So if you do get strung out for some reason, or this person's at the bottom of a rapid, and they have the most experience with safety and rescue, that's a problem because the mistake could be way upstream and hard to get to. Hopefully that makes sense. But what's critical here is that the whoever's in the front is very exposed. If somebody falls out, a swimmer typically moves faster than a raft in general. So if these people fall out, there's not a real downstream catcher's mitt to get them. Whereas if somebody falls out here, there's a downstream catcher's mitt of good boaters to get any swimmers that are here. And the second person is critical because they have to catch up with this boat and the swimmers and go do a pretty aggressive rescue, which is pretty challenging. And so on river, in terms of spacing, I think I generally like the second boat really close to the first boat for that reason. And the person in the second boat is thinking about, what if they swim? Can I catch up with them really fast? Or what if I swim? Are they right in front of me? Like, this is almost like a two-person unit, right? Because if these are the weaker boaters, they're probably not going to be a lot of rescuing. So the first boat is like making moves, doing things, figuring out lines. That second boat, in my opinion, is right on their tail. And in general, for boat spacing, I always say you want to be, as close as you can so you can provide some sort of assistance, but far enough away so you don't run into them, which is really hard to do. That maybe in some instances that means 5 feet, some instances that means 20 feet. Sometimes it could mean all kinds of things. So your goal is, again, be close enough you can help each other, but far enough away you're not bumping into each other all the time. But I would say 1 and 2, you might bump into each other. Like, you want to be really close, and you're pushing that boundary. Like, I'm going to be pretty close that if they get stuck, I might hit them, but that's not a big deal because I'd much rather have them be close to me so that we can rescue each other. Hopefully that makes sense. This is kind of a big deal, so I feel like this number 2 position is super important. Then there's also kayakers. There's a kayaker here. If you have a strong kayaker, it really helps, especially if they're willing to go first, because they can get out in front of all of this and provide some sort of downstream safety net. But remember, if they get into trouble, then there's no safety for them. So it's a trade-off what you want to do. A lot of times we'll run kayakers that aren't very good in this section, so we have a lot of people downstream that can help them. So it's more thinking about who's your strongest boater to get ahead of the group for the strongest safety net. So enough talking. I went boating today on the Wind. I love the Wind River. It's where I practice. And today I was boat number 2, and I was practicing that. The boat in the front, they didn't know the run the best, so they did make some mistakes, which is typical and common and not a big deal. And that gave me an opportunity to slow down and speed up. And not only was I having to run the rapids, but I was also having to adjust my speed continuously through the rapids. So sometimes I was pushing, sometimes I was pulling, just so I can maintain what I thought was the best distance behind them. So I'll show that video and kind of give my thoughts about what I'm thinking as we're heading down the rapid. So here we are on the Wind River. This is Ramshorn Rapid. It's a long, big rapid, and I'm the second boat. There's a couple kayakers behind me, but I'm the second boat. I'm their safety. They're my safety. And first of all, as soon as they eddy out, I'm right behind them. And they shouldn't have any question. Like, they need to have that second boat follow them pretty closely. And all I'm thinking about here is I want to be close enough to them so that if there's a problem, whether I fall out, they can rescue me, or if they fall out, I can bomb ahead. But I want to keep far enough apart that if they get stuck, that I don't just jam into them and make a problem. So right here, there's a place they could get stuck. I'm slowing down, slowing down. Okay, cool, they make it through. And now I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can so I can stay right behind them. So I made that pretty efficiently. Again, I'm trying to keep this distance and be as close as I can without getting, too far away. It's a tricky thing. And so right here they get stuck. So immediately I'm going to stop and catch an eddy. I don't want to get ahead of them. I don't want to run into them. But I had enough space behind them so I could catch this eddy. If I was right behind them, I maybe wouldn't have been able to do it. And so I'm going to sit here and wait for them to come undone. And this is the tricky part, is trying to figure the timing so that when they're heading downriver and I start going, I have my distance again. And I'm being very thoughtful. This is most of what's in my brain right now. When do I leave to keep this distance? And they get stuck on a rock pretty quickly here. And luckily I had a little bit of distance, or I would have slammed into them. And that worked out pretty well. Now we're really close, but that's because I got stuck on a rock, which is fine. So I'm going to slow it down, pull on the oars, and create some space. And I want to point out, running the rapids here is almost secondary. My main thinking in my brain is distance. Too close, too far away. So they get stuck a little bit. I like the middle line here more, so I'm going to take the middle line here. I'm going to watch them and just really try to think about my timing. And at this moment, they're kind of going pretty fast, and they're taking our left line, which I don't like. And now I'm worried they're too far ahead. Again, if they swim, my ability to rescue them is really hard. And again, if I swim right here, if something knocks me out, they're pretty far downstream. I'm super unnerved right now, actually. It looks like I'm calm and I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time so that I don't make a mistake. And what I choose to do here, because they're so far ahead, is take a more difficult, faster line. So they took a left line that's slower and a little safer, but I need to catch up with them. And so I'm going to take this right line, which I don't enjoy taking, actually. It's kind of manky over here. But this kind of catches me up with them. And now I'm back to the spacing I like. It's a little tight right now, so I'm backing up. There we go. It's back to it. And so again, this is just a lot of in my brain. We're going back and forth. Our space is too big, it's too short, and we're working together to create that space between us. And so now they're going to catch an eddy on the left. And there's two kayakers behind us. This is where things get a little tricky. There's not room for them and me and two kayaks. So I'm going to choose to go right here. There's no real eddy, but I know there's a right line. And I'm actually going to pass to them. I'm going to become lead boat. And this just happens sometimes. I can't eddy out over here. I feel comfortable going ahead. I don't really have good safety now. I'm very exposed. There's nobody downstream if I fall out. And they're actually waiting to tell the kayakers what the line is. And so I'm taking a very exposed position here. There's a tiny eddy. I think about stopping in this tiny eddy, but it's kind of going to be a lot of work. I feel good about the line, so I'm going to go. And here, I'm breaking protocol, which we do sometimes for a good reason. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, man, again, I am very, very exposed here. I fall out. There's nobody there for me. But the good thing is now I'm a catcher's mitt for them. So I'm downstream. I'm in an eddy. I'm ready. And so, after they explain to the kayakers the line, I'm now ready to become their safety. And then when we're done with this, resume with being in position number 2. So again, I just want to point out the whole point of this exercise is to show there's so much going on in my head about spacing, position, who's in what space. It's not perfect. It's always changing and really challenging. So those are my thoughts on the responsibility of boat number 2. Again, people don't always boat like this, and you don't always have to boat like this. But when it's challenging and dangerous, I think you certainly should. That's just my opinion. I think this is a good, responsible way to be boating as a group. One last thought is, maintaining this spacing is really difficult. And that's the thing is about boating hard rivers. Not only do you have to do the rapids, you have to have the ability to run the rapids, you have to have the ability to maintain spacing the best you can the whole time. And it's really hard because if this person slows down, it makes this person slow down, then that person slow down, that person slow down, that person slow down. If this person slows down, these two have to slow down, and these two have to slow down, and it just gets, and then if somebody speeds up, it's a whole mess. And so I like to think of our whole group as being connected by springs and dampers. And so we're constantly adjusting to the group. And so if this person pulls, it kind of pulls everybody. Or if this person goes back, it kind of pulls the whole group. And so everybody's not only adjusting the person in front of and behind them, but to the entire group of what's happening on. And it's really hard to do. When it happens and you're boating with people that do this, it is beautiful. Honestly, like I would much rather, like I really love the rapids and I love figuring them out. But for me, boating, when we're running the river and everybody has their role in this kind of slinky, everything's moving, but everybody's maintaining their spacing and order. It's the most beautiful thing. To me, that's my favorite part of boating is when we're coming down as a group and we're running the river as a group, not only like negotiating the rapids, but maintaining our consistency, or maybe that's the wrong word, not consistency, but like our integrity as a group. So those are my thoughts. As always, please add comments. A lot of the best things come from the comments. So go down in the comments, check things out. People will add better thoughts than mine. If you have better thoughts, please add them. I'll hopefully respond to them. If you have questions, ask questions in the comments section below. This is where the conversation keeps going. And again, like I learn from the comments. So I'm doing the best I can to present my thoughts. But maybe I missed something. And please let me know in the comments because then I can go, oh yeah, that's super smart. And I get things from these videos too. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, join, do all the things. And yeah, see you in the next episode. Thanks.